Good. Hi, Elodin. How
Hi
are
guys.
Hi, Odin.
you?
Over here getting cozy.
How are you? Okay. How are you?
I'm doing good.
How do you feel?
A little tired.
Mhm. How was your day? How was your day today?
My day, what did I do? I did plans for my clients. I finished not long ago, so I sent them their workout plans.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Great. And do you feel like I can understand that you're tired by now, but do you really feel that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Do you feel that during these sessions, it's very late at your end? Do you feel that you're grasping everything?
Yes and no. Like I feel like the first half, yeah, and then the second half I start like getting delusional.
Yeah, makes sense.
Honestly.
Yeah, of course.
I know. I
I
know.
definitely don't see it in my future, like to work at this time, because I know I'm optimal. Like I'll wake up and it's like 10 a.m., 11, and like early noon, and I'm like, oh, I wish the sessions were now so I can be more like mentally sharp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I wish there was a time that would work for everyone and
Yeah,
suitable.
we got it done though.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
matters.
So you did wonderful so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we
So
waiting on Sasha and Jihan?
Sasha's here, but Jihan won't be able to attend because her child and her husband are both ill,
Oh dear.
No.
and she didn't sleep at all. She sent me around 6 a.m. her time and said, "Okay, I didn't sleep until now, and I don't
Oh,
think I'm gonna make it."
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a bummer. Hi, Sasha.
Good morning, Sasha.
Good morning.
good
Hey,
morning.
how are you getting along with your new place?
It's fine. I just had to do a lot of admin last week,
Mm-hmm.
registering myself, etc. But I heard somebody had sleeping problems. Yeah, me too. Same.
Oh, so everyone,
Yeah,
what's
this
going on?
weekend was not very restful.
Yeah, it's not been good.
Yeah. Oh, so Rachel as well. She said for a few weeks she didn't sleep well at all. And Jihan, because both her son and husband are ill.
What about yourself? How are you?
Well, I'm great. Alhamdulillah. We had a nice weekend, but also my daughter got ill during the weekend. Luckily,
No.
it lasted just one day. And then the next day she went to the nursery and everything was fine. Happy with
Oh,
that. So I'm energetic and happy and a good start for the week.
And you've got us.
Yes, exactly. I'm really looking forward for this. Elodin, I think because you have the microphone on, we hear some echo. Speakers
really?
on. So if you put a headset, if you have a headset, maybe it would be easier. Do you all hear this?
Yeah,
Mm.
So it's like an echo situation?
yeah.
Let's see if there's headphones here. Let me see.
I have to make a disclaimer. I'm not at all ready. I did not practice anything.
That's fine. Did you write?
Almost. I had a big struggle because the more I was writing, preparing the what do you call it, the structure, the more I was changing the topic. Like my beginning would be one thing, my body would be another thing, and then the conclusion would be like, damn, I was off topic again.
And therefore, two things are important. First of all, to know your purpose.
Yeah, I had to change it too a few times.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the structure and following a structure would help you, because if you're speaking just improvising, then you would know that you will go off topic easily. But now you can always analyze every point and say, does it serve the purpose or not? So I hope you found it a good exercise for you.
She is gone. That's it. We're losing people one by one.
Here she comes.
Here's Eden.
There she is.
Mhm.
She's got a decent pair of headphones on as well, like you.
Yes.
Sasha.
And I have a question.
Yes.
That video of the, what is it? Speaker? How do you call it? I don't remember.
It's okay. I don't remember the names as well.
From last week, week 4, the second speaker, the guy, he wasn't really keeping any structure at all. He just told story after story after story, and then eventually led to the beginning story.
Okay, so that's how you found it. Actually, he had a structure because I've done actually the exercise of the structure with another group, and he has a very clear structure.
Really?
I should actually, okay, we should do this.
Like his opening was basically the altar thing, and then he goes directly into stories, which I thought was the main body, no?
You can have the story in your opening as well. So
That's
he does
cheating.
not, he certainly does not follow the structure that we are using. He's following the structure of the Toastmasters, which is much simpler. It says you have an opening and then a transition to the body. And in your opening, you're just introducing the topic and getting people to understand. So you're entering your topic. And then you have a story and then the events that happen in the story, and another story and then the events. So it's the same section and then subsections, section and then subsections under it. So he was doing that, and then he was ending with the ending of the story, like what happened in the end. And then at the end, he revisited the opening.
I was kind of waiting for him to say no in the altar, but he didn't. Like, that would be a fun twist.
Yeah. And I think you can see here, I actually intentionally put this speech in because we think when we listen to people talking that there is no structure because they do it so well. You're just following, but you still want to hear. But they always keep a structure. Even the TEDx, one of the things that they teach them in the TEDx, that you can have a structure, but you should never show people the structure to make it smooth, to make it go smooth.
Okay, and how do you do that?
They say, if you know the structure, I've got to kill you.
So they do it actually by believing in what they do. I will send you a speech that I did. I have 2 speeches because some people asked me, some of the coaches asked me, okay, this is a very complicated structure. How can we see an implementation of a simple structure? And I sent them my icebreaker and the Toastmaster and then the 8th speech. And in it, also with the script, in it, you can see that I'm rigidly following a structure. But really, when you listen to it, you don't really hear a structure. And that you will see now in your speeches. So, but before going inside, I would like to ask, Elidin, how was your speech?
It was exciting just to get the flow. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm writing. I can do this. Because I thought my intro video for week 1 was my speech. And then week 2, I'm like, oh no, there's the speech. And then week 3, I'm like, oh wow, she's really getting this with the real speech.
And how was week 4?
What's going on? But it was really nice to be writing and then feel the flow and then just be inspired. I still have some broken bits, but I do have something in writing.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. So right now we are not aiming for perfection. This is what we should be clear on. We are not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for just the first speech, which in other words, like in the Toastmasters, they call it icebreaker. And they tell you in the icebreaker, the evaluator is not allowed to give points of improvement. They're only allowed to praise the person, because we know we're just getting the confidence in, and we're getting the person to just use sort of a structure. So it's not about perfection at all. It's about just doing it. Okay.
We did it.
And now, do you feel, which one of you feels ready to test the speech?
I'd be happy to, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all of it. I can just remember bits.
That's fine. So right now, you've read it a few times, right? And you know
Yeah.
the structure of it.
Yes.
And the structure is a tool to help you remember. Because you know, I'm saying this, and then this, and then this. You're going with the flow. So just try it out. You can, for the first time, if you like, to have it open in on your screen, not to read from it, but only to try to remember if you missed a point. I'd rather not.
I think I remember it because I've literally only read it 3 or 4 times.
Okay, that's enough. That's fine. So just try it out. It's just a test.
Okay. Wow.
Woo, go Rachel.
Hey, so
Oh dear. Okay. Me and my big mouth.
Is this your opening? Oh dear, I don't like it.
Yeah, I know.
Do we need to keep the time or something?
That's a good idea. Yes. Would you please, Sasha?
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
I've got the first sentence because I've just looked at it. Is it all right if I briefly check my script? Because I was able to do that yesterday.
Okay, that's what I said. You can even have it on your screen open so you can briefly check. That's fine. But don't read.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do is read it because it's... Okay. Okay, so let's do this. So how much do you trust what you're doing will heal you? So let me start again. How much do you trust what you're doing will heal you? Do you think you might be missing a silver bullet, something that will get you there faster? I used to too, and I'm sorry I'm laughing.
It's okay.
£80,000 trying new thing after new thing, and I failed miserably at recovering my health. And I'll bet you didn't realize that second guessing what you're doing all the time is actually a stress on your body. Always looking for that new thing puts us in a fear state, a state of anxiety, and it can undermine the very thing that you're trying to do, which is to heal. So I'm going to tell you today how to recognize if you're doing this. So because you need to feel calm and centered when you're healing, not always worrying that you're doing something wrong, so that you can give your body the space to do the work that it's trying to do. Hello, I'm Rachel. I'm a chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia survivor, and I lived with fatigue for 5 years, and I got to a point that I never thought I'd recover. I lost my career, I lost my health, I almost lost my mind and my marriage, and now I'm recovered and I've rebuilt my life and I feel healthier than I have in decades. I work with others to cultivate a state of calm so they can bring in their own, they can ignite their own inner healer. And I truly believe that a lack of trust is pretty much at the core of all recovery issues, and always looking for that next big thing is really a big bad idea. And today I'm going to talk to you about how I learned this the hard way, and how the endless search and troubles and lacking trust in my body didn't help me. So I'd been sick a long time, and I remember when my health started to fail, I would spend all my time researching, and I didn't trust anything that I was doing. And the longer I was ill, the worse the anxiety that I got and I felt around it. So I lived in constant fear of doing the wrong thing, and it led me to do things that really worked against my healing, such as spending all my time on Google and Facebook groups, finding out what I could be doing wrong. And I was always constantly anxious about nutrients I could be missing out on. And I speed dated every crazy healing fad out there, wondering if it could possibly be the one. And this meant I wasn't giving anything I was doing a good chance to work. And instead of being patient, I'd put time limits on my recovery and protocols, not really realizing that healing takes. And those time limits I set, they were not kind to me or my body. And they didn't help me. And I didn't understand how unkind and untrusting I was until there was a death in my family of someone I was incredibly close to. And my health worsened to a point that I seriously considered killing myself. And the only thing that stopped me was being the one that was left behind when a friend of mine took their own life. The downward spiral at this point for me was fast and deep, and I had to make a decision if I was going to live or to die. And I decided that if I was going to live, I had to do it well. And then I was lucky enough to meet someone who had helped his wife recover from stage 4 cancer. She was actually on life support and was told that that was the end, and he took her home and she healed. And he recommended a book called The Biology of Belief. After that, I devoured any book I could get my hands on around the mind-body connection. And I learned that if I didn't start to work on my emotions, I'd be in that pit, which I found myself in forever. And I read, and as I read, I realized that I was in a constant state of anxiety, and those fears that I might be doing something wrong were part of the problem. I wasn't trusting, I was holding on to holding on for dear life. And the opposite of trust is fear, and that's not an optimal condition for healing. So based on everything I'd learned in these books, I started to bring some techniques in. I saw some small changes happening, but I realized at a certain point it was bigger than me and that I couldn't do it alone. So I found somebody to work with, and really to see where this lack of trust that I felt had come from, because I realized that it was an ongoing theme in my life, not just something that had turned up when I became ill. The session that I did with that person, and how light I felt afterwards, I'd cried and gone to things I thought were done in my life, but clearly they weren't. And I also changed my habits. I stopped looking things up online and trying to find what I was doing wrong. And instead I focused my energy into doing my protocol, my eating well, and working on my emotions. And over time, I let go of the fears I had around the illness and my ability. I said, I will get better when I get better. And over time, I learned to listen to my intuition and my body. And I wasn't always good at it. And I still now slip up, but I've learned to become aware of it. And the key lesson through all of this is that I can be in control through letting go of control. And it all, sorry, this is making me feel quite emotional reading this story.
I know.
That's part of the beauty. I
Yes,
love it. Thank you, Rachel,
exactly.
for sharing this.
Really, thank you.
Really
This is a great
I
moment.
didn't realise it would.
And keep going. Please keep
Sorry,
going.
I don't know where that came from.
You're telling your story. You're telling your story.
Yeah. And it didn't all happen overnight, and it was slow to start, but then the more work I did, the more recovery sped up, and the protocol ran in the background, and the time I gained from not searching for new things, I focused on my emotional health, and for me, a combination of time.
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't realize. I mean, I've read this 1,000 times, and it's just sharing it, I think.
I know.
Time, consistency and patience paid off. And I remember when it was all over and I was standing in a crowd at a rock concert and I realized that what I'd achieved. And it felt like the greatest achievement of my life. And it still does.
You're amazing.
So if you're second guessing what you're doing, I want you to know that healing's not about trying every protocol, but finding a good one, being consistent and focusing your energy on your emotional health, because our bodies flourish in an environment of calm. Look at the way that you feel about what you're doing and see if my story resonates with you and make a plan to break that down. And if you need someone to help you do that, get in touch. I've just launched a new program that's all about bringing calm into your recovery. And just remember that to heal our bodies, we need to calm our minds. And that the sign off we'll see in the next video.
You're amazing.
That's really amazing.
Yay!
So powerful.
I'm
Thank
proud of you.
Yeah. We are proud of you.
Yes, I didn't realize it was so emotional. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
And this is the journey you went through, and you did it.
8.5 minutes. So I guess the actual time would be around
It's a bit-
8 minutes or less.
Yeah,
That's-
it's a bit long,
That's fine. That's fine.
isn't it?
It's a little long, but I've seen the details you've added, also about the man through whom you were introduced to the energy healing and so on. So you might decide to go a little bit, but I would say right now.
I think it's
Mhm.
Everybody's
laughing
free.
at some point.
Sorry, Sasha, I didn't hear you.
I think it's actually around 7 minutes, 7.5, because I mean, I timed the whole thing. I didn't really pause much,
All
but Rachel
right.
was pausing every now and again
Yes.
for laughing or crying.
Yeah, yeah.
This
I
is,
lost my shit, as they say.
but this is beautiful. This is beautiful. How do you feel saying it? Like putting it down in a speech, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to videoing it and putting it on my channel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I am, because it is quite cathartic, because I think that's one of the reasons I'm not sleeping at the moment is I've come back. So it's been a process of reminding myself where I've come from and how much I don't want to go back there again and where I want to go instead. So,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so
Wonderful.
thank
Okay,
you.
let's give Rachel a break now. And who's next?
La 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 la.
Yes, yes, yes. So everybody will have a turn. Elodin, would you
Oh,
like to
I
go
have mine mostly in writing. I honestly didn't rehearse.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
So I would say because you wrote it, did you at all read it for yourself after writing it?
No, not like whole. It was very broken.
Okay, so you can decide to read it, but really don't make us feel that you're reading it. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'll do my best. The one thing, since I'm on my phone, I have to look at my Word app, so I don't think it would show I think my camera would not be functioning.
Let's check
But
that.
you guys tell me, can you see me?
No, we can't see you.
No, see that, so that's my issue.
Uh-oh. Okay, then it's more important to see you actually. So
Yeah.
let's see you and you try to. Actually, I've tried with everybody else, and everybody actually will come to this session not ready. everyone. Nobody came to the session ready, but then they would deliver their speeches, even from their own memory. And it doesn't have to be identical to the speech you've written. It's just now you
So
know.
it's more important to see me than to actually have me read it.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have an upcoming women's picnic
Mhm.
on February 7th, and I wanted to dedicate my speech to that. Just to get women, a lot of women feel stuck and they're not in a place where they want to be with their self-love.
Mhm.
So I want to just encourage them. I want to bring them that encouragement. So I'll begin and I'll do my best.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay,
Sasha, would you
time.
please time? Yeah. So Rachel, time. Yes, please. And Sasha, would you please also notice the ahs and ums, the melody? Okay.
To prove I am enough goes on to infinity because the battle was already lost on the day that I conceded the issue was debatable. These are the words of the great author, Nathaniel Branden. I want you ladies to recognize that self-love is here. You are self-love. I want each of you to go ahead and pull out your ticket, raise it up, show me, and I'll give you a minute to do that. So, self-love is here, and that is you investing in that self-love. You came here today because you have this love for yourself. You are investing in your energy, and you want to be surrounded in like-minded women who want to feel that love for themselves and want to feel that appreciation for themselves. So I want you guys to let that soak in and soak it up for a second. Self-love is here. Repeat with me. Self-love is here. I am self-love. I love my energy. I am self-love. I want you guys to feel that. And I will not let you leave this picnic if you do not feel it. I will say get your wallets ready because you're going to pay that extra hour to M&M Rentals, which is the picnic setup. So worst case scenario, ladies, get those wallets ready. I am Eladin. As most of you know, I'm a certified personal trainer and I coach women to love themselves with self-esteem strategies. And why I do this, you will learn throughout these stories that I will tell you. In darkness to light, in being trapped in a cocoon to being able to fly like a butterfly. These are just a few of the stories and a few of the life-changing occurrences in the ways in which I helped women overcome their feeling of being stuck and not loving themselves. There's a woman who is bottled up. There's a woman who is not expressive. She has been conditioned by experiences. She has been conditioned by her own mental blocks and her thinking. Now, this brought her a feeling of being stuck. But with the strategies of self-love that she implemented, giving herself the permission to speak up and to share who she is and to feel safe in doing so, she found that courage with that light and that energy to realize that she is worthy of sharing who she is and that it is safe to share who she is. It is safe to share her emotions so long as she recognizes the value and at the same time protects her energy. So I want you to feel, if you came in here today feeling a sense of being stuck, a sense of, I'm here, but I don't really feel like I love myself. Let me tell you that you will walk away with that thought out of your health, out of your head. Self-love is here. Let me tell you yet another story of a woman. She is sobbing. She is held on a leash by her past. She feels incapable. She has no encouragement. She sees only darkness. She sees no way to the light. She sees no way to self-love, not for herself, not able to give it. She is trapped. I will tell you, with a push of love and light, she began to see the light for herself. She began to do the work that she needed to do for herself. And those little things day by day, that is self-love. And that is what you are doing today. Self-love is here. You are self-love. This woman was able to cut that leash of the past and begin anew into a new journey that she never thought possible for herself. And now that she owns this light and this love and this prosperity, she is able to share it with her family and her children. Self-love is a powerful thing. It is a shift. And today you will create that shift because you have stepped into the door of your higher self by simply being here, by investing in your energy. So I want you to know that you are important, you are valuable, and we're going to shift that through affirmations. I am self-love. Repeat with me. I am self-love. Self-love is here. Thank you. Oh, wait, no. Self-love is here.
Self-love is here.
Thank you. How was
Bravo,
that?
Elodin. How do you feel not reading and trying to remember it from your head?
I feel good because I know some points that I have, I didn't mention them all in the poem.
Mm-hmm.
And coming in with the mental fog because I am a little tired, I'm pretty proud that I came up with this. I'm wondering on the time that I did.
We can't hear you, Rachel.
Oops. 5 minutes and 25 seconds.
Oh, man. Okay, I was going to say 5. Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
So I really loved how you
was
started with a
great.
joke. Sorry? Okay. I really love how you started with a joke, how you started making them repeat. It was interactive, it was affirming, and even making them repeat. It's fun and also interactive at the same time. It serves the affirmation. The thing that I would like you to actually try to add more, you gave stories, and this is beautiful. You gave stories,
Yeah.
but the stories are not deep enough. You said,
Yeah.
there is this woman that lived like this, and then she was able to heal and see light and be this. But
You know, that's where I got stuck because I'm getting these from clients that I worked with, but I'm like, how much could I share? You know, like I think I would have to reach out to them. It's not like I'm going to say their name, but I think
But-
it would be respectful to reach out, right?
but that's why your story is the most important here.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about them, it's about you. If
Right.
you tell your own story and if you go deep and show, you see, Rachel went so deep in her story that anybody will be able to resonate.
Yeah.
The way we inspire people is not by saying somebody was not okay and then they were okay.
Okay.
That doesn't really say much. If
Okay.
you show all the suffering, everything, and you go as deep as it got, and then you go up, how was the up, and what happened to them, and where are they today, and how are they living their life today? That's what really gives the value and makes the transformation you want to see in the people, because you told them you will be enlightened, you will see the light, and you will see self-love. So it will be really a duty for you to show it
Mhm.
and show the process of getting it. So now I would like to ask you from your life, what is, we said you can talk about a story of learning from failure or succeeding after failure. What kind of story would you give from your life to serve this purpose for the picnic?
I think being stuck, like feeling the black sheep and feeling like I have this consideration for people that don't seem to have it with me. But once I shifted the focus to me and my potential, that's when I really started to go where I always wanted to go.
Yeah, and that's inspiring.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
realizing that you're the black sheep and that you were giving and people were taking, but you need to keep something back for yourself.
Yes. Rachel, I
Right.
think your internet connection is
did
a
you-
little slow today.
Yeah.
We're not hearing you well.
Oh, yes, it is. Sorry, not plugged in.
Okay.
The internet is not plugged in.
I'm fighting with my husband for the Wi-Fi, whereas I'm networked, so I just plugged it in.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
That's
Um,
fine.
Yeah, no, I think what I was saying was that, you know, that realization that you were giving more than you were keeping for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge one, and I'm sure everyone that's an empath or a compassionate soul will recognize that in themselves. And that giving of more of yourself than you've got is not self-love, is it?
Yeah, no.
So that's how, I mean, it's an idea to weave in, and it can show your vulnerability to those people at the picnic, and they'll probably love you even more than they will.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Did
that
I
rem-
give off
Mhm.
any energy of like being closed off?
No.
Not really. The only thing I felt is that I want to hear more. I want to go, I want to see more. It was more of affirmation than real value that makes the transformation that leads to this, to believing the affirmation. So that's what we want to reach. And talking about giving and taking, there's an analogy that one coach, I heard one coach saying, and maybe it will inspire you to give an example somehow, maybe. So she says, and I want you all to do this, inhale. Just inhale.
Marisa Peer.
Yes, you heard her. Yes, I just forgot her name. Inhale, and keep inhaling and keep inhaling and inhale and inhale and inhale until you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And now exhale. Exhale and exhale and exhale. Keep doing, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
To breathe now.
Yes, so that's the lessons she wanted to demonstrate, is that you always need to inhale before exhaling. So you need to take and give. But if you take so much without giving, you can't take anymore. And if you give and give and give and give, you will die before being able to, like, you can't enjoy life or enjoy anything. You can't give anymore. You can't give anymore until you take something. And she says that's life. That's the same with life. You need to inhale and you need to exhale. And it goes round and round throughout your life. So I just remembered this because of what you said about giving and taking. But Elidan, I loved your energy so much, and I loved the way you're talking to them, and I love, until the end, you're telling them self-love is here. Now, what's different that you can do from just motivational speakers? You want to be inspiring, right? You want to be an inspiring speaker and a transformative speaker or transformation. And that's the difference. Motivational speakers just keep saying the word and you can do it and I believe in you, you believe in yourself. And they keep repeating that and just get your adrenaline up. And then it will go down as soon as you go home. But transformational speakers, and that I learned also from Lisa Nichol, she gives the differences between the different speakers. You go deep and you tell a story and you connect with the people's hearts inside and make them resonate and give them something that stays with them for the rest of their lives, not only for this half an hour or 1 hour with you. Rachel?
Can I just say that I think I mean, this is something I've struggled with, and perhaps this might help Elodin, is we're kind of brought up to not tell the bad things that happen to us or those bad feelings that we have. And so it's not natural. It doesn't come naturally to me to open up, but I know that I can't reach those people if I don't. So I guess as people who don't really know you a great deal, like the people that you'll be speaking to, we want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So now perhaps you'll feel more comfortable giving a bit more and sharing your pain, but also your triumphs with us.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because I want to say I grew up pretty healthy mind, healthy self-love. My mom did show me a good deal of that. So maybe it was like the judgment from high school. I'm like trying to I need to figure that out with myself. What story would be like the one that really is like the more defining?
Well, if you remember when we did our session, so I gave up for Elodin the first session that she missed. And I remember you told me examples of how your mom made you feel not very valuable somehow by not really caring so much, like the time when you had an accident and the different times throughout your life. And these are stories you don't need. If you don't want to hurt your mom, maybe you don't need to just say bad words, but you can describe her that, you can just describe her that she is this person. I respect her, I love her, but this is how I live my life, and this is how it made
Well,
me feel.
honestly, I give her a lot of credit for like saying you're a woman and you're to be respected. So I grew up in elementary, like I felt like I knew how to respect myself more than a grown woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she always taught us like you're valuable, um, and yeah, you're worth this, and like to own your name. So I do give her that. It was more of the, I guess, the vulnerability side of it, like not a lot of connection.
Yes, and how the
So
people saw you in school and in different places that you needed on your own to do the mirror work and so on, as a defensive mechanism against what other people, how other people are treating you in your community. They didn't take you seriously. They didn't believe in you, right?
it was judgment for me because I liked wearing high heels and makeup, like even in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that they would look at this outside cover and not really take some time to know the inside. And when I did, when they did see the inside, especially because I was always talking to their nerds to make sure they're okay. They're like, why are you talking to me? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you talking to me?
So bring these stories, bring the different stories. And if you dig a little deeper in your life, you'll find even more story. Just be really honest with Elodin and try to find the V. Try to find where was the real, the deepest point you've been in. And
What if
how was
can I try
it?
something?
Mhm.
Okay. I often wondered why my life was not working. Oh, wow, it's hitting me. Yes, this is it.
Mhm.
Okay.
You've hit the gold.
Yes.
Just breathe.
Mhm.
Breathe through it if you can.
Okay. I often wondered why my life was not working the way I wanted to. Why I felt in a dark place I never thought I would be in. With my kind heart and my kind soul, my giving soul and my light, I felt trapped. And I asked God, why am I here? Years passed and I now have the answer. If I had not gone through this darkness, I would not be here to share my light with my women. I would have settled with a great husband so that I can be the best and the greatest stay-at-home wife. I realized that God did not want this for me, and He wanted me out here the hard way. He gave me that push to give you this push, and that's why I'm here. self-love is here.
Here you go. Here you go. Yeah. You found it, but still you're not going as deep. What happened to made you feel this? Tell the story. What happened? How did it start? Where were you? What was your surrounding? What was, you told your feeling, which is one of the most important elements, but you need people to live this story with you to be able to resonate. You felt this. What made you feel this? And then you asked God and God gave you the answer. How was the process of asking God? How was it? And then the realization. And out of that, what did you do? I need to charge my computer. Excuse me, just a minute. It's going to shut down.
Okay.
I'm actually going to use that as a toilet break opportunity.
Go.
Thank you.
So you found it and it's hitting you, and it is what you need to talk about, but it has a story. Nothing happened. It was not just 1 minute, 1 hour that you felt all of this and then God answered you, right?
Yeah. So the general side of it, I guess it's being patient and kind of putting a hold on your crown and putting myself through trials because I held on to a vision. I don't know how it would be tied, but basically my husband had a different upbringing than mine. And I always prayed like, God, I know there's kids out there that don't know love. So bring me a man that didn't receive that love, that poor child, so that he can see what love is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I hurt myself on the foot on that one. But no, not really, because we're getting there, and I see the light and the vision, and I have the answer now, like why I was put through these trials.
Would you be able to speak in more details?
Yeah, it
about
was
that?
just like,
I
you
mean,
know,
in front of people, would you be able to speak in public?
I think so. I would have to just rehearse.
Yes. My question, I think, is more, is it okay with your husband that you tell these stories?
I think I mean, I don't think he would be like, no, don't share that.
Okay. So if you're comfortable, then what I would suggest, you say how it started, and you asking God to give you this. And then with the deepest point you've reached, what happened, what was happening, the actions, tell details, the events that happened in your life and how you felt about them. And then go to the realization and asking God, go to the process of asking God and what happened to you, and then how did you feel the answer from God? And
It was just
where
like
did you start?
constant. I don't have a specific thing. It was more like just constant, like not living healthy, like just in harmony. It was always like this darkness that he would still have hanging over him because he was not healing.
Yeah, but
from his
there are always events that tell you this, right? He
Yeah.
would do this, he would do that, he wouldn't do this, or I would feel like this, and our communication would be this way. And try to point at certain events. Try to point at certain things that happen.
Because it feels like a long time. And at the time, I didn't realize, say, the death of my uncle had such a big impact. But a year later, I was still feeling it and still in the hole. So, if you trace back in time, I can work out retrospectively when it started. And it might be that you just woke up one morning and thought, I can't do this anymore. It doesn't have to be like a big explosion, or it's just that it's kind of the turning point, isn't it? It's that sort of, okay, stuff's got to change.
That point was when I said, I'm just going to be selfish, and instead of trying to help him grow, because he has to do it for himself, I can't just be there trying to get him to grow and heal. It was like, I'm going to be selfish.
Right.
Because I never was that or said that, but I was like, I'm going to be selfish. I literally said that.
Well, that's an internal fireworks display, isn't it? It's, it's a U-turn on your normal way of being.
Yeah.
And that's I'm sure with the group of women that you're going to be speaking to, that will hit home with them, because they're probably some of them in the same spot.
Yes. And
Yeah.
how did you translate selfish then in your life, and what did it make you feel, and how are you living your life now? So remember again the V. Remember to speak about generally where you are, then go as deep as you can in the story and how deep it got, how much the suffering was for you, and what did it make you feel. And still, I believe there are always events that make you feel something. Something happened, and then another thing happened. They could be small little things, but they add up, and they feel really big. And that's what would make the ladies that are listening to you resonate, because they would have these little signs in the beginning that they don't really see. It's okay. Maybe their husbands are off for a little while. Maybe they are not talking with them anymore. Maybe
It
they're
can
not
be a look.
smiling. It could be a look. Maybe they're not kissing them or hugging them anymore. It could be these little things. Maybe they get defensive every time they speak. So
Right.
there are many things, but you say it from your own experience. You're not talking about this woman that had this, that went through this. You're talking about Elodin, and I went through this. And as deep as it is, it's still affecting you. It's affecting you in terms of you're still feeling it. You're still feeling that emotion, and you can go as deep as you can. You can use everything that you felt and you went through to inspire others and to protect them from walking the same journey. You just give them the lesson. And maybe you'll be really able to heal them, not at least inspire them to find a way out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that, work on tying that together
Yes.
and how that ties.
Because you got both sides, you just don't have that one piece, that story, and you've identified your spot now. What
Right,
did
right,
you
yeah.
want to tell? So you're there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also just advise you one thing from my own opinion, and I would say I'd love to hear also what Sasha and Rachel think. It's good to repeat the idea that self-love is here and you are self-love, but if you overdo it, it starts losing the meaning. That's how I feel about it, because it's not about saying the word, it's about feeling the word. So if you're telling a story, if you're going as deep and then you're ending with this, you're starting with this and then you're ending with this, then it gets deeper. What do you think, ladies?
Yeah, and the thing is, you could say it in different ways throughout. So there's other ways of saying self-love is here, or it's time to start loving yourself, or start to giving yourself some of that oxygen. You could say it in many different ways that and that you can still keep the message, because I spoke about calm and in many tried to make it different throughout, but it was there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
the
did.
same message, but you're using different words every single time.
Exactly.
And
And
also,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known how to do that without the structure that you've given us. So
thank you. I'm happy that it
Yeah,
was
thank you.
successful. And I would like you, Elodin, to try also to follow the structure from the beginning. You start, you did a good start, but then also talk about the benefit and say, I will tell you a story, and then go deep in your story.
Okay.
Okay, but what I'm really loving here is that although you're tired and although you didn't even read your speech, but you were
no,
able
it's
to deliver it,
fantastic.
and you delivered it amazingly. So I have confidence that once the speech is ready in front of you, even if you read it once or twice only, you will be able to deliver an amazing speech. Really.
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is
I
amazing.
feel the same.
I actually found that those affirmations and the way you trying to engage with the audience, I found it really nice. And because
Awesome.
they're affirmation, it makes sense to repeat them a few times. So I didn't find that it was repetitive at all. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
I agree the story can go deeper, and that way even the information will resonate more with people. And I also found that you're quite poetic with your words. Like
Yeah,
you had
too.
so
Oh,
many
thank you so much.
so many really nice phrases in there that could like just take out and quote, 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 you know.
Oh,
Yes,
Full of quotes.
thank you, Sasha. That's so sweet.
yes, yes. And now.
What?
And now we listen to Sasha.
Yeah, I don't have a speech. to
Okay, just make
give
one
you.
up.
Mm,
You'll
good
have now
idea.
to improvise. You're very good at improvising. You'll have to improvise at least 5 minutes then.
Am I very good at improvising? I don't know.
You
I
are.
can do the timer, Eladin, if it's easier for you on your
Oh,
phone.
please. Yeah, I would have to get out of my screen.
Yeah, no worries.
Put out on my screen. Oh my god. I'm gonna yawn a lot probably. I'm sorry
All
about
I
that.
know is Eladin made me cry again, so I knew that there was something going on there.
Mhm. Yes.
I
That's a
hope
good thing, right?
My nose, you can probably see my nose is red.
And this just tells you about the effect of your stories, ladies. They're really deep and they're really touching, and they deserve to be told.
Yeah, may I add? One thing for you, Rachel, that I forgot to mention is with your speech, I think you should, I know it was 7 minutes or close to 8, but I think you should just take some pauses because what you're saying is really meaningful and really like very deep. So I think just take a few pauses just so you can soak it in and then other people can soak it in more as well.
Yeah, thank you.
I agree.
Yeah, I need
And
to.
maybe breathing pauses.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you, Aliden, for this. And
Yeah.
of course.
we're just giving Sasha time to get adjusted, but that's
It's in your heart, Sasha.
yeah.
The scripture's in your heart.
And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about after we finish. Everybody delivers the speech, to talk about a little bit the delivery part of it. The delivery part. We will talk a little bit about it because it's for other months where we will be talking about the vocals and the body language and so on. But we can go a little bit in it right now. So when you deliver in front of the audience, you'll be even more confident. And also for your YouTube. Okay, so Sasha, we are ready to hear.
Yay.
You can do it, Sasha.
You can do
Yes,
it.
you got this.
I hope my internet doesn't jump again because at some point it was just not working.
That's fine.
Okay. 1 second. Let me just get that structure so that I don't completely lose it.
Yeah, but don't read. Try not to read, please.
No, I don't have a speech written, don't worry. Around 3 years ago, I found myself sitting on the couch in a dark room, barely any lights, dark outside, dark in the room. And I'm sitting there with my laptop and I'm Googling, what is the least painful way to die? And it took me some time before I realized what the hell I was Googling. And that was the turning point where I decided I need to take care of this monster called depression. Let's rewind back a little bit. At the age of 27, I lived in Dubai. I was married. I lived in a beautiful apartment next to the beach with our 3 cats. I had a well-paid job. I had friends. I partied every weekend. My life seemed great on the outside, but deep inside, I was miserable. I was suffering from what's called a high-functioning depression back then, and I wasn't even aware of it because I didn't know it existed, and I didn't pay attention to my symptoms. Just 1 year later or so, I was already spiraling down in a much deeper depression because I didn't take care of myself early on. And I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm actually telling you this because it's possible to prevent a deep and dark depression from happening if you catch it early on in its early stages. I became a life coach and a personal development blogger because I know what it's like to be in that dark, miserable place. And I don't wish for anybody to go there ever. So I'm trying my best to share my story and to tell people to raise awareness and to be aware that this condition exists. It's very easy to catch it. And just by knowing the symptoms and addressing them on time, you can prevent this drama from entering your life. You can prevent this monster from creeping in into your life. I was struggling back in the days. I was struggling with overeating. I was overweight. I had an eating disorder. I had depression, anxiety. I had insomnia. I was in a non-functioning relationship. I was depressed. I was, like I said, I was even suicidal at some point. And today, I still have these moments when I don't feel so good and I can feel it creeping back in into my life. But today, I know how to prevent it. Today, I know how to deal with it. Many people suffer from depression. Actually, in fact, as per WTO, 264 million people suffer from depression. But these are just the recorded cases. I am sure there are so many cases that are not recorded, that we don't know about, or in the countries where they don't have access to good health care. And even more people are probably struggling from high functioning depression, which is a kind of disease where you're still able to function in your daily life, but deep inside, you're not well, but you don't show it. So I would like to tell you first about the symptoms. Some of the symptoms of a high-functioning depression include feeling hopeless, feeling sad over a prolonged period of time for no reason, feeling lazy or apathetic, or just not really having this drive to do anything or motivation, changes in eating or changes in sleeping or both. Like in my case, it was both. Chronic fatigue is one of them too. Low self-esteem, no lack of self-love, feeling guilty or feeling not worthy. And another one that I noticed in myself is feeling irritable, being angry and responsive and reactive and generally aggressive for like no apparent reason. My poor ex-husband suffered quite a bit from that. So once you're aware of these symptoms, and if you find yourself or if you find somebody else showing these symptoms, it's important to know that until you have the desire to heal, there's not going to be a lot of effect. And a lot of people have told me, Sasha, go see a therapist. Sasha, you have to check it out. You don't seem okay. You don't feel good. But I was refusing it because I did not admit to myself that I was suffering. I was just in a victim mindset. I did not want to get help. I thought that everybody was stupid. It was their own fault. And I felt sorry for myself most of the time. But then that day when I Googled, what's the least painful way to die? And I can tell you, by the way, I found the answer. But from that day, I realized, oh my God, Sasha, you need to take care of yourself. So this is when the desire to heal came on, and I started devouring every personal book that I could find, personal development book. I attended a lot of webinars. I started learning more about self-love and how to heal yourself and how to deal with your emotions, do emotional healing. And it took me a lot of time. And I did actually go to see a therapist, but I didn't really like her. So eventually it took me a longer time, but I did get out of it. And once you know that you have the symptoms, and once you're aware, and once you're ready to heal, I would also advise you to seek help. Either check yourself and get a professional opinion, and then get help if that's available to you. I feel that if I had some help, I would get out of there faster. And I don't want anyone to go through what I went through, because it was really a miserable, dark place. I wouldn't get out of bed for days sometimes. I would just not want to. And it's not just hurtful for yourself, but it's also hurtful for those that have to live with you when you're in that state. And eventually I learned to love myself again. Eventually I divorced the poor ex-husband because the relationship was just not working. I moved to another city. I got another job. Like I completely turned my life around. And I'm happy I did that. Because if I didn't do that, I don't know where I would be, to be very honest. So please spread this awareness, because awareness about high function depression and depression can really help us to fight this sneaky monster. Oh my God.
You did so good.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I'm sweating.
Well, I'd be sweating too if I did just all that straight off the cuff.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was great.
So you did all of that improvising?
Yeah. I mean, I had my outline here.
That's really beautiful. And this is a way that I find many people that choose not to write scripts from the very beginning.
I
For me,
couldn't
in the-
write it. I don't know why. It was a struggle.
Mhm.
Because it's big.
It is big. It is big. What do you think, Rachel?
I would have liked to have heard, sorry, I think that ran for about 7.5 minutes, but the minute you start talking, I forgot to press the timer, so sorry. I thought it was good. Again, like to hear more of a deep dive, because the deep dive happened in the first sentence. And then there was nothing, didn't go any deeper. It was more about the symptoms. And I actually think your story is more interesting because the symptoms will emerge out of that.
Well, I did mention my symptoms at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
because
was
you mentioned
more
the symptoms. Yeah.
living with the symptoms. So what did that feel like? Did you go out with your friends and it felt like you felt numb, or
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a bit more detail about those types of things, because you read a lot of books. Was there anything that particularly jumped out at you that really grabbed your heart?
A few.
Mhm. Mhm.
What was it? What did you learn from them? That if you didn't start turning things around, if you didn't start learning more about who you were, it's just those key lessons. Because the opposite of that is where people are, and they'll know, because they'll be like, yeah, I don't feel like that.
Yeah, this whole, I was supposed to make a point of like, and today I feel better, blah, blah, blah. I learned this, but then of course I forgot to mention it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you did incredibly well. Both you
I'm
and
surprised
Alison
it's 7
did
minutes. I thought it was less.
off script.
What do you think, Elodin? Thank you, Rachel. This was on point.
Yeah, I think since we're in the arena of sharing story, and from getting your guys' feedback, I was able to pinpoint with Sasha more of like the storytelling aspect of it. But I appreciated, I mean, there was still depth, like there was depth. And I would like to see also like an explanation of the light side of things when you started to see the light and really like turn things around for you and what those feelings were in comparison to the dark feelings. But yeah, I think if you just get in a storyline in there, that would be really perfect. And also I think change the tune. I don't know, coach, is that important? Like go higher pitch and then lower and like switch it up rather than monotone?
Yes. Yes. So about the vocal variety part, I know it's not easy in the beginning to get it, and we did not take any lessons here, but they are important. We will talk about it briefly now, just briefly. But that's exactly, Sasha, what we need to do. You did amazing for a speech that's only based on structure, not or completely improvised out of bullet points. That's what I understood. What as Rachel and Elodin said, What would make it even more touching and more inspiring and more connecting with your audience is to go deep in a story. Now, you talked about where you were in the beginning. You started amazingly, and I thought that you would go deeper. You started telling the story. You started telling about your feelings and your emotions and how and everything, and you did not know it was depression. But then you were talking. You turned it into an educational speech.
Mhm.
So this is what depression is. These are the symptoms of depression. The statistics, which is good to know the statistics of how many people have depression. It's all good, but they're not the only content that your speech should have in the body. So if you talk, for example, you talked about the realization. If you went maybe a little back, how did it start? You said it started a little bit and then it went more and more and more. How was this little bit? How was the more and more and more? How did it like show it to us? Show it, not only say it, but show it. Show it meaning tell us the surrounding, tell us an event that happened. What did you feel inside that event? Like Rachel said, maybe you went out with your friends, but you didn't feel it. Maybe you were working, but you could not focus, and all of these little things that can that can make a person resonate. I'll give you Rachel just a minute. And then you said, and then I was able to overcome the monster. You didn't tell us the process. It's not a shift. It's not from one day to another. Okay, you read all the books. Was it only the books you read? Or was it one book? Was it a process, or it was a turning point, just one? What was it exactly? And then how was the healing? How did it feel? Where you are today? How are you enjoying your life now? What were you able to accomplish after you healed yourself?
That would be a 20-minute speech.
But you don't need to say every little single detail, but just walk the people through the journey, not just telling them little one element of it. It's a journey that you're talking about.
Mhm.
And it's not about educating people about depression. Besides that, you want people to know that this could be depression, but you want to show it to them so they can realize.
But that's the thing. Actually, initially, I wanted to like, the purpose was to show that it's possible to get out of a depression. But then while I was working on it, it changed to more like the awareness of high functioning depression. So it changed. It's like,
So-
okay,
But
I'm
you can
gonna do it more educational and less just
Yes,
story.
go ahead, Rachel.
you can achieve both, I think, by so for example, I mean, I had depression in my early 30s and I ended up in a psychiatric hospital, very deep, dark anxiety and depression. There was a point, one event that I remember, which was I went to work and then the next day I couldn't get out of bed and I was crying all night. And my partner said, "Are we going to work?" Because we used to work together. And I said, "No, I can't do it." And that's when things went really downhill. And so if you can weave in, obviously your experience is going to be very different, but it might be that you're out with your friends and you realize that this isn't the life you want, or there's something that drove you to Google, and it's that bit that I'd really like to hear about. What drove you to Google?
So more story, less symptoms.
Because the story tells the symptom.
Yeah.
The story shows the symptom rather than just saying it. This is the symptom. This is the
Because
symptom.
people will understand. So, for example, I mean, I've told people about my experience with work and middle management being squished between staff and upper management, and that stress around that, and to overworking and all those things that drive you to that point where you just mentally can't take anymore. And people understand, oh, my God, that's how I'm feeling. Maybe I'm overworking. Maybe, yes, I sit with my friends and they talk, but it doesn't have any meaning to me anymore. And I feel like this big gaping hole in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's those things, if you tell people those, they know what the symptoms are.
Exactly.
Just
Because
through your
otherwise they can read it
experience.
from Google. The rest they can read from Google. Once they research, all the symptoms will come out. And it would also resonate with someone who's a partner, with someone who's facing this. So you're just showing everything to them. If you just tell it, you're not adding anything than what they can find online.
But if I tell my story, then there's not anymore the structure.
No, you can tell it
I'd like to
based on the
share.
structure. Yes,
Oh,
Eladin.
sorry.
Sure.
So I want to say that I appreciate, I see the sense that you're coming from, Sasha, because for you, it was a moment of, I didn't know I had this, right? So you had this awakening moment of, oh my gosh, I'm here. So you're carrying that passion into the speech of like, this was what you may be going through, and this is where you need to be and how you can be awakened. But yeah, like Rachel said, I do think you could still achieve both, like send that message and then share your story as well.
Okay,
And
thank you.
to give an example, do you remember what we did last week with Rachel? Rachel wanted to talk about the process of healing, but it started with the realization that second guessing doesn't help you. Second guessing the current process and just looking for what's new won't help you. So it was let's say a sub purpose for the big purpose of that you can heal yourself. It's almost the same thing you're saying. It starts with the awareness that you have it, and then you can heal yourself. Once you're aware, because just the awareness itself, okay, what do you do with this awareness? You have to give something to people to encourage them to like hang on to this awareness. But if the awareness is not leading to something big, then the awareness is not really meaningful.
You're sort of telling the story about their potential life.
Yes.
You're here because I'm here. I was there. And look what happens. And that is so educational because you tell them that journey that they could take. You're not just telling them what to look out for, you're telling them what to look out for, but also not how, but what they could do and what the process would look like and how it unfolded in a beautiful way for you.
Yes.
Thank you.
How does it seem? Does it feel like?
Well, next time I just tell my story and that's it.
Okay, how about we give it a try?
Don't need now?
Yes.
No, next time.
No, really, because you're in it. Now, because why am I asking you to do this now? Because you made it out of bullet points. Now, if you're changing the bullet points, if you think of 3 phases, 3 phases in your life that you want to talk about, and that's how your story is built up on. And I loved starting with the point that you were looking for ways to suicide. Now, not loving that you went through this, definitely, but loving that you started with this. And I love what you incorporated in your speech that, okay, I found, by the way, the right answer, but I'm not going to tell you. So you made it also interesting and engaging this way. So this was really, really good.
The hook was outstanding.
Yes.
I mean, I just like, yeah, okay, I'm here. Right, tell me more.
I thought about it just now. I actually had a different hook before.
No, that one was beautiful. It's just like,
and that's
tell
when
me.
we trust our inner intelligence to guide us without any preparation. Usually it works. So Eladin, I would like you actually to do the same because we still got some time. If you want to dive deeper in your life, would you like to give it a shot?
Yeah, I guess I had some questions like that because I'm not sure how it would connect to what I'm trying to achieve, which is self-love. So I have 2. Okay, one is a question is, will you guys be interested and feel the self-love connection through my story? Like, would you feel with me sharing this? Do you feel like will it get to my point and will you guys feel that?
The previous one or the story you shared?
Like if I share, well, I shared only bits, but if I were to like dive into it, do you feel like that self-love connection, like how is it even going to touch you?
So if you dive deep and you tell a story of how you reached the realization, even now, from what you're saying, you had self-love from the beginning, incorporated into your life because of your mom, right? But sometime in your life, and maybe many people will resonate with this, sometime in your life, you're faced with a situation for maybe a longer term than you would expect, and that will drain the self-love out of you, and you will forget, you will slip,
Mm,
and then you walk up,
yeah.
right?
Okay, let me try it. Okay. My self-love crown was on a break. It went to Self-Sacrifice Island. I have, in my early days, I had prayed for a husband who grew up in a place where he didn't know love so that I can show him love and then we can create even more love through our children. It wasn't until I found myself in this dark place that I said, why did I pray for this in the first place? I got to my answers about 5 years in, but let's stop there and let's go back. My name is Eladin. I am a personal trainer and I help women to achieve self-love and self-esteem. Now, I got married in 2014 and the backgrounds between my husband and I were not similar. I grew up in a healthy family, healthy oriented, not perfect, but I was healthy and I was well off to pass it on to my children. My husband, on the other hand, he came from not feeling worthy of love and darkness. So I thought, perfect. That's the man for me because he's going to have this passion to want to create this life of love and to have this life of love. And we're just going to be great. Of course, we went through our hurdles and our darkness. And day after day of being placed in a place where I found myself self-sacrificing and shrinking my crown to accommodate comforting him in ways that were not comforting to me. I found myself self-sacrificing day by day to meet the vision of having him a healthy, having the little boy inside him realized and knowing that he is worthy of love. And I held this vision more so because I prayed God for it. So I did not want to give up on it. We had gone through our hurdles. I was at my mom's, came back to our apartment for the better of the kids. I said, if I know that we're going to be together eventually in the future, might as well do it now so that the kids can be together in a home and let them see what home is. I told them that day when I was back, I said, get ready because I'm about to be very selfish. It's about me now. From that day, gradually, I took actions to show up for myself and just get that crown back that I've always worn and I've always been used to wearing without fear of intimidating anyone else. I just owned it proudly because I knew that this crown had so much light to give off to others and to share it with other women. I did not know where I was going to go. I did not know how I was going to get there, but I know that I have this passion for my women to love themselves and to own their name. As I took daily self-work steps, I gradually got into a place of feeling success and showing up for myself. And now that's why I'm here. I'm filled with so much action and no shame and no holdbacks. And that's why I'm able to be here and tell you guys that self-love is here.
That's really beautiful as the first trial. And can you feel it? Can you feel how you're going a little deeper already? Can you feel?
I can feel it, but I don't know if it's the right story.
No, that's the only person who can answer this is you, because it is your purpose and it is your life. What I can tell you is that it feels for me that it's the right story, and the ladies can then give their feedback as well. It feels for me that it's the right story, but how you started and how you ended. Now, you dove deeper. That I liked actually how you said my crown was off and it was diving in the sea or something. So you were really poetic. But when you went a little bit back, I would go as back as your childhood. How were you raised up? How were you raised up to have self-love already? How were you as a girl embracing yourself, even with the rejection or the judgment of other people around you? And you thought that you will continue doing this since you mastered it as a child. You'll go your life throughout your life having this as a principle, maybe if that works with you. And you were praying to spread that even further, and you wanted a husband whom you can give him more self-love, who haven't been raised up, who haven't been blessed as you are, and you give them from this. And then you go, when you met your husband and this, and you felt, okay, this is the right person, and then go a little bit deeper. You just gave us a general idea of how it felt being with him, that you were so different and he was not like you and so on, but you didn't show us the suffering. It is important to see the suffering, and it was important for the ladies to see the suffering, because then they can resonate. So what are the types of events that happen? Again, I'm sure, can you remember? No, maybe you can answer me. I'll just ask you, what are the moments in the past years before you went to your family house and then you came back to him and said, I'm selfish, be ready, I'll be selfish. Before that, what was the most difficult event that happened between you and your husband? Can you remember?
I think just the accumulation of heaviness of literally every day, like just wanting to have value throughout your day, being at peace. And then every day it's like he's in a dark bubble and giving off darkness. And then the kids feel it. And I'm very protective of my kids.
How did the darkness manifest in your life?
Because then I was trapped because I couldn't share myself. I couldn't share my feelings. I didn't feel in a safe place because it's like if he's not seeing that for himself, and if he was very much in a victim mindset. So when I say something, it's so that we can grow and come out of it. But for him, it was like, oh, I'm being attacked. So it was dealing with that every day. So not being able to reach anywhere or get anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I think just the heaviness came from an accumulation of not living in a healthy life, like on a daily.
I can totally resonate, because I lived a similar experience. And then I figured out that it was depression. So not with me, but with my husband. So mm-hmm. I can totally resonate. And therefore, I'm asking you to dig deeper. What are the certain events? Okay, he had victim mindset. And whenever you want to give light, he will face you, reject you with darkness. And then he will feel like you're judging him whenever even you ask a question, maybe. And mm-hmm. he will get really defensive. So all of these things, but you can say an example, give examples. Examples always help. So, and how did it start? Because you chose this person, and then was the first year easy? Was it all well? Or the change happened from the very beginning? Or it was slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger? How did you start losing your crown, really? How was the process? And then you figured out, okay, my crown went completely off. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the journey of how you lost it, what made you lose it, and then the awakening. Also, you went to your family house. What was the thought process in your head or a conversation maybe you had with your sister or your mom that led you to make the decision, now I want to be selfish. Now I have to take care of myself. I will go back home and I will live on my own terms. Maybe. So you want to give people the journey, the full journey, in short words, in just around 8 minutes, but be generous in telling them, because that's what resonates. try for every little timeline, go a little deep. What happened here? So with how you've been raised up, and then with your choosing your husband and so on, and then the process of losing your crown. First year was this, second year. So if you follow the structure, you will be able to decide which section you will talk about what. Maybe the first section you will talk about how you've been as a little girl, and then with your husband, and then how you realized and what decisions you made. Do you see
Do
what
you
I
find
mean?
that inspiring for self-love? Like if I share that with women?
In my opinion, how I feel, yes, because especially the idea that you're not coming from a place where you've never had self-love, because again, it works well with you because you're the coach. So it's fine. And you thought you're this person who was embraced with self-love since childhood. Even you could slip, but then you got back and you put your crown on again.
I always had it. It was just really small.
Okay.
It just shrunk, but I always had it. That's why I was able to come out of it. And that's, I guess, what I want to teach women is having this foundation, because self-esteem, it doesn't guarantee that dark things aren't going to happen or bad things. It doesn't guarantee that, but it just tells you that you know how you're going to get out of it.
Exactly. So the process of realizing your self-love is very important to tell them. It's not, I went to my family house and then I went back home. You skipped it. You didn't tell them what happened. You just went back home and you told them, okay, be ready and I'll be selfish. But what happened in your head? How did you come out of that?
And how hard was it to leave and go to your mom's?
Yes.
It was easy and hard.
So speak about that.
Yes.
So
walk
it was
through it.
easy for my sake because that's what I've been wanting and I know what's out there for me. And then it was hard because what always kept me is like this vision of him. And I know that if I would not be with him, he'd be like in a dark, bad place. And I just held on to that, like feeling bad for him to not want this to happen to him, especially because he's the father of my kids and they're always going to have a connection. I don't want my kids to see him in this dark place. So it was me holding on to that vision. But me easily, I could have just gone and married someone else and been happy for my sake. But I was thinking of the family as a whole, I guess. Well, for him, because I know what would happen, and I just didn't want that to happen.
So you still kept the base that you started from, which is the empathy and the wanting to help. You did not lose that, which is a good thing. But then you wanted to keep it without losing yourself.
Yeah.
So that's also important. We want to help people, but we don't want to lose ourselves on the way.
And that keeping your crown enables other people to discover theirs and find theirs.
Yes.
Right.
So what you're saying to women that will come to your picnic is you can not feel guilty about shining your light and wearing your crown, because by doing that you enable others to find theirs.
I like that. Yeah, I can lead off of that. Thank you.
Because that's essentially what you've done. Before you were over your husband, say, I'll fix this for you, I'll look after you, I'll take care of you because you're not as strong as I am. But actually, by cutting him loose, he found his strengths. And you found yours again, your strength. Because you said it made you feel heavy. Was it a tiredness? I mean, how did that feel in your body? You can talk about that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And one of the things, for example, that I realized, and one of our friends said it, that you can't really inspire your husband or even your child, because the position that we are in is like the position, your mom won't be really able to inspire you by saying, you do this, you can do it, you just do it.
Right.
A friend can. So starting from the position that we want to inspire people who are in our close family may not work. We inspire them by allowing them to be who they are and accepting them the way they are. Trying to influence them maybe by resources, by providing them with the resources that we know, and they have the choice if they want to consume these resources or not. That's from my experience, from my story, might not resonate with you, but maybe you can find something in there that resonates with and that works with your own story.
And
So-
sorry, and the lesson is what we were talking about, which is that I can still have my crown, but there must have been something you learnt as a child that meant that you felt the need to rescue somebody who was in a bad place. And what you've learnt, I mean, that's the lesson that's come out from hearing what you've spoken about is I can help other people by helping myself, by keeping some of myself, I empower them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whilst that was almost more compelling in some ways, I was brought up in a home where I was loved and where I was made to feel empowered and, all those nice things. But there was a guilt maybe associated with that when it came to other people who were less fortunate than you that didn't have that, or there's some reason. And if you are able to work out what that is that made you then put your arms around him and build a hammock underneath him to completely support him, losing your crown and your support, then I think it's a great story.
Yeah, thank you. I think the root of it is I've always just had a vulnerable place for children in my heart. And even when I'd see a baby, like they'd be cold and not have a sweater, I'd be like, oh my God, that's not nice. Like as a little kid, like it was just always been in my heart, like little kids to be safe and loved.
Yeah, but as an adult, you've learned that actually you can still provide that blanket whilst also providing for your needs.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's also connected to the personality. Some personalities, and I can again resonate with this. We like to help people. We're just made, we feel that we want to help people, but sometimes we overdo it because like a butterfly, it needs to strengthen its wings to be able to become a beautiful, strong butterfly. But if we do everything for people, if we are the ones pulling without the people wanting to be pulled, so they go down, we pull and they go down, we will fall with them because we are taking all the effort. But if we see, if the person wants to be empowered, if the person wants to be stronger, that's the only way it works. Sometimes we just want to find the person who is completely helpless, like a child without a jacket and cannot do anything, and we give them the jacket and we give them warmth and we give them the home, we give them everything. But that doesn't really work with adults. They need to be strong for themselves, for us to have a space to pull them up. At least they need to be wanted. And this is actually one of the things I've learned from a coach called Michael Neal. I'll totally recommend him if you can check him out, Michael Neal. And he said, one of the elements of coaching, he says, there's no coaching without a client, meaning if the client is not willing to be impacted, there's no use of your coaching. You only coach when the client is willing to be impacted, or when a person next to you, in front of you, is willing to be impacted. They are shut off, you can't do anything and you can't reach anywhere.
Being at cause.
Yeah. And if we impose ourselves on people who don't want to be impacted, it leads to rejection and being defensive, because we will seem to be showing off our wisdom and showing off ourselves rather than helping them out and judging them.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sasha, I hope that was
Thank you, guys.
helpful, Iliden. I hope it was helpful for you, Iliden.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It really was. I took notes.
Perfect. And you will see the recording. Sasha?
Yes.
Are you ready?
No.
Okay, we're waiting for you. We will hear anyway. You'll do great, I know.
Right. Okay.
So Rachel, you're timing Sasha, please.
Okay. Around 3 years ago, I was living in Amsterdam at the time, and I found myself one night sitting in the darkness. It was dark outside, it was dark in the room. I just had the light of my laptop. And I found myself Googling, what is the least painful way to die? Now, how did I get myself into that place? Back when I was a child, my parents divorced when I was 3. And for about 5 years, I was living in between my grandparents. And eventually, I started living with my mother. And as long as I remember, I wasn't really allowed to do the things that I wanted to do. I was mainly doing the things that my parents wanted me to do. As an example, around the age of 9, I wanted to go to this new hip hop school that they just opened, and my mother said no, and instead she made me go to ballet, which I hated for a year. And then later on, when I was graduating from high school, I wanted to go to a design school, and then my parents said, no, this is not a good education, you go study that. Okay, so I studied business administration. And then a few years later, when it was time to pick my job, and it was 2009, the Great Crisis, I didn't really have a lot of options because I still had my Russian passport, not a lot of options in the world with that. So my parents said, okay, go to Dubai, we have a job for you there. So I went to Dubai with my husband at the time. And we lived in this beautiful apartment right next to the beach in a really nice area. We just got married. We got ourselves cats. And I was actually earning quite good money at this job. But 5 years later, living that beautiful life, having great friends, partying every weekend, going into the desert to go for camping or barbecue, I found that I was miserable inside. And even though deep inside I was not feeling well, I was unhappy, on the outside I was normal. I was still functioning, I was still doing well. And this is what a high functioning depression is. It's when you show some symptoms, but you're still able to function. And some of the things that I felt was anxiety. I felt that I was not understood. I felt like I didn't belong. I was always tired, and I was always aggressive, and I was irritable. And my eating patterns changed, my sleeping patterns changed. I started eating more, and I started sleeping less. And then at the age of 28, I decided I don't want to do this job anymore because I started to feel really, really not well. So I thought, okay, it's the job. So I quit my job and I went traveling for 2 months. And I came back full of hope and motivation that now I'm going to find something that I really like doing and I will do that. And I started looking for jobs. And then I realized I don't know what I want. So then I started thinking, okay, what do I want? So I started going into personal development and doing the deep inner work. And this journey of self-discovery started. And the more I was digging, the more I was realizing I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. Midlife crisis. Boom. Depression gets harder, depression goes deeper. The more I was digging deep, the more miserable I was getting because I really didn't know what I wanted in this life. I wanted meaning, but I didn't know where to find it. Eventually, my husband said, okay, you're not feeling well. Maybe it's because we're living in Dubai. Maybe let's move back to Europe. So we moved back to Europe. Nothing changed. I'm just getting more and more miserable because now we moved from sunny, beautiful Dubai to raining Amsterdam, where it's cold and quite gloomy most of the time. And then I found myself one of these evenings Googling what is the easiest and least painful way to die? And that's when I realized, okay, Sasha, you need to do something. This is not okay. This is not good. So I started working more on my self-love. I started going even deeper in personal development. And I started to actually take action steps. Before I was just reading and watching and, you know, absorbing the information, but I wasn't really doing the work. And then I started really doing. I started meditating, even though I thought meditation was stupid. I started journaling a lot. I started exercise, like forcing myself to exercise a little bit. Eventually, I started also sleeping better and eating better. And I also got in touch with my spiritual side. Before that, I was quite atheistic. I mean, I believed in something, but I didn't believe in Jesus or Allah or anybody. And I found this connection. The more I was digging deeper to find myself, the more I was able to connect to myself, the more I realized for 28 years, I became so disconnected from my truth that that's why I ended up in this dark, dark place. And the more I was going deep, the more I was uncovering me and myself, the more I was able to feel better and to actually start to have a meaning and purpose. Today, it's been 3 years since that timing of my Googling. And by the way, I found the answer. And I've done a lot of work. I actually divorced my ex-husband. I moved to another city. I got another job. Basically, everything changed in my life. I transformed myself. I transformed my life. I still get moments when I feel the depression creeping in, like the sneaky monster that it is. But now I know how to deal with it, and I know how to get myself out of it within a day or two. And I want to share this knowledge, and I want to share that if you find yourself or someone suffering from depression, it's very possible to get yourself out of it. And by knowing the symptoms and by being aware of the symptoms, it's actually easier to catch it in its early stage and deal with this monster before it grows into a massive dragon. So being aware of the symptoms may help prevent this monster from growing, but doing the work will actually help you to reconnect to yourself and to get rid of this monster in your life. Oh my God, I'm sweating again.
Beautiful. Now, first of all, before I say anything else,
There was like
But
no
I-
structure.
no. Before I comment even on how you did, I just would like to ask you to maybe never wear this sweater again with your microphone.
Sorry.
Didn't-
Yeah.
it's okay. I didn't want to cut you, but it was affecting the sound a little bit. Now, how do you
You-
feel?
You should have interrupted and told me.
No, that's fine. How do you feel?
I'm sweating again.
It was beautiful. And I liked so much how deep you went. I liked the story. It was interesting. I did not feel bored at all at any moment.
I thought it was boring.
It wasn't boring at all. And I like that you went so back to your childhood and how you were raised up. And all of that is part of what led you to where you had found yourself in. So the whole journey is nice because you're not keeping blanks in my head. You're making it interesting to follow. I know what's happening. I understand. I'm following. I'm not stopping somewhere and say, okay, what happened? Then I don't get it. No, now I'm getting. So it's really good. Some of the things that you did in the past that I would like you to, because you were improvising in both. So some of the things that I loved so much in the past that I didn't see so much here is how genuine you were talking about your ex-husband. For example, you said that you were overweight in the past. Now, you did not mention that. I think it's important to mention it because seeing you now and how fit you are, so it gives some sort of hope. The other thing, how compassionate with your ex-husband you were in the past, in the previous speech, you kept saying, my poor ex-husband. So you were compassionate about him. And now you showed how he was nice to you and he tried to help. It's not him that is not a good person and he's not the cause of your depression, but
Mhm.
it was just not working out. So I think it makes it more clear if you just show the compassion as you did the first time.
Mhm.
I would think that if you go back and work a little bit more on the structure, it will make it stronger. And lastly, now you will watch the recording of this
Oh boy.
session. You will watch the recording. The hook you had in the beginning, the way you said it, it felt a little stronger, the hook. Just the way you said it. Now I know because you're saying it again and you're trying to remember what you said in the past. So it's not as genuine. Try to go back to how you said it the first time because it felt a little stronger. Your energy also was a little stronger. Now, the ending, I love how you ended, but just try to end with a strong word. The last sentence. Make it strong, make it deep, make it connect. It's not only the sentence you use, it's also how you say it. And now we will talk also a little bit about the how after we hear from the ladies. Yes, Rachel, you wanted to say something?
I'm gonna have to run quite soon because I'm running research session at 10:15. What I wanted to say, I mean, I loved it, but the interesting bit for me was you mentioned your childhood, and I actually think you can weave that in because you knew what you wanted when you were a child, but no one would allow you to have it.
Yes.
So, of course, as an adult, if you've been told, I want to do hip hop, go and do ballet, you're never going to feel that you're doing the right thing. And I think that if you can bring that in, you'll get other people going, oh my God.
I love this. I love this. Yes.
Because we all have those experiences. I'm sure that's part of the reason. I was always taught money was important. So I took jobs that earned lots of money, but put me in situations that I didn't enjoy. And that's why I got depression. You came from not being able to do anything that you wanted to do.
And working a job that I didn't like also.
Exactly. So that thread runs through and you felt trapped.
And you were with
It's
a
a
husband, although he's nice, but you did not feel for him. You did not love him.
Well, eventually, no.
So
So,
anyway, that was my tip.
good point, Rachel. Elidin, do you have any point to add?
Well, similar. Great job, Sasha. I'm so proud of you. Similar to Rachel, it's like, oh my gosh, like I saw little Sasha being told, no, you're not going to do this, you're going to do this. And then here's adult Sasha not giving herself the permission because she was told no growing up. So I felt for little Sasha. I'm like, oh, little Sasha.
Yes. So you see the meaning of telling your story? It's really connecting with everyone. And that's what we need to do in every single little speech that we make, no matter how short or long it is. Now, because time is almost up, I love what you did, Sasha. I love the speech you made, Elidin, and Rachel, I think you'll rock it. When are we doing the public one? There are two choices. Either we choose an evening, which will be morning for Elidin, just to make it a little bit up for Elidin for all these past weeks. That would work with me. We can do it maybe because we shouldn't take too long. So I'll just suggest Thursday evening at 9 p.m. my time, which will be 7 Rachel's time. Does it work?
There's no way I'll be ready by Thursday with the week I've got.
But you're ready. By the way, you are ready.
Well, I can read off my thing and I check it. So, yeah.
just do as much. Now, this is the thing we want to make sure of. We're not trying to reach perfection. We do as much as we can, but we don't delay just because we are not ready. We'll just deliver as best as we can.
Okay.
And that's what both Elodin and Sasha, they were not ready. You had your script all written down. So at least that's a step. And I'm confident that also both Elodin and Sasha will do very well, even if we say the event is today. So time-wise, Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time. How does it work for you, Elodin and Sasha?
Thursday.
Is that
Thursday.
7 p.m. my time, you said? Sorry.
UK time. UK time. 7
Where
p.m.
are-
And what's my time?
I'm not sure about your
Yeah,
time.
what is
actually.
your time?
What's your
What?
time?
What was my
Well, right now
time?
it's 2 a.m. nearing.
Now
Right.
it's 2 a.m. and I have 12.
So whereabouts are you, Elodin?
I'm in California.
Right. Okay. Okay. So there's a clock. Yeah, here we go. So 7 p.m. UK is 11:30 a.m. California.
Okay.
Does
Yes.
it work?
Yes, it does.
Wonderful. Sasha, how is it?
It works.
It works. Then I'll make sure of Jihan. It should work with her, hopefully. I will tell you the instructions. We will be just asking people to join, and it will be somehow facilitated.
Who are these people?
Now, that your part is asking your partners, each one of you, and whomever in your community, friends that you would like them to hear what you've got to say. And just enjoy. Maybe Rachel, you can also reach out to community members if you'd like them, like Jan or anybody that you care about. And
Yeah.
Sasha as well. Think of the people that are close to you. Okay, so you just tell them about the time and give them the link. Same link as now. And I'll take care of the rest. And you be ready. Now, Elodin and Sasha, just try to, now that the speech is clear in your head, just try to follow the structure a little bit because it will make it just a little more organized even in your head to not forget the important elements that you want to add, incorporate in your speech. So you make sure that you have a strong opening and then your body is a transition to the body and then the body is clearly structured for you and your head and for the storyline, and then a strong ending. Okay, and I'm really, really, really excited. Now, one last thing, I know Rachel needs to go, but just one last thing because we said we will talk about it. It's about the how. Before you start your speech, take a breath. And then try, like now, like how I'm talking now, and like when you talk, when you're just saying something that you want people to understand and feel for you. You're not, as Elodin said, it's not a monotone. It's not something that we want to get rid of. We want to talk and make pauses. If there is a deep moment, like in Rachel's speech, and each one of you actually have very deep moments, you can pause after that. It's for people to grasp what you said and to give the weight the moment you're talking about deserves. And then you carry on. Make it expressive. Talk about it in an expressive way. Try. We will talk, if you choose to continue this journey, we will talk about the details of this. But now, just as you talk to your mentees and try and want to make them understand what you're saying, it's important to do the same thing with your audience. You don't need to just reach the time or make sure that you're saying it. And sometimes we think it's boring for people and therefore we try to speed up. But believe me, none of your speeches are boring. They're not boring. They just need to be well told. They're very interesting. So believe in your speech, connect deeply with it, and give it the time and the weight it deserves. and I'm really excited, and I'm sure you will do wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Good job,
Good job,
everyone.
everyone.
And also you, Coach Omnia, good job to you for taking us to this place and starting from a place we're not sharing. And then some of us ended up crying. We all went in deep. So it takes a special person to get us to that place. So thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I'm really happy for this. I'm happy to be able to add value to you all, and you're all amazing. I'm looking forward for Thursday, 9 p.m. my time. You be ready and have a beautiful week until then.
Okay.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You guys too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.